The man drifted alone in the silence of space. His ship was small, old, and patched together from years of repairs. He was not a soldier anymore, not a hero. He was just a traveler, moving from one forgotten corner of the galaxy to another. For him, space was quiet, empty, and safe. Or at least that was what he believed. One day, while scanning a dying star system, his ship caught a weak distress signal. The sound was broken, almost fading. He frowned. In this sector, no one should be alive. The old ruins here belonged to a war long past. Still, the signal repeated again and again. A voice, soft and trembling, begged for help. He hesitated. Many times before, pirates used fake signals to trap travelers. But this voice felt different. It was fragile, almost like a child. Against his better judgment, he changed his course and followed the signal. The source was an abandoned station, floating like a ghost near the orbit of a shattered moon. Half the structure was broken, torn by weapons fire long ago. His scanners showed no life support, no working systems. Yet the signal came from inside. The man suited up and entered carefully. The air was thin, cold, and poisoned. His flashlight cut through the darkness of twisted halls. Every step echoed like a warning. For a long time he found nothing but dust, broken machines, and silence. Then he heard it, a faint cry. He turned quickly. The sound came from a corner room, sealed by a half-destroyed door. With effort, he forced it open. Inside, lying weakly on the floor, was a figure he did not expect. It was a girl, but not human. Her skin shimmered faintly, almost glowing in the dark. Her eyes were too large, deep pools of silver light. Her body looked fragile, almost like glass. She gasped for breath, clutching her chest as if the poisoned air was killing her. The man froze. He had seen many alien races during his travels, but never one like this. She looked helpless, almost breakable. And yet, there was something unsettling about her presence. Still, his instincts as a human pushed him forward. He knelt beside her, checking her vitals. Her heart beat strangely fast, like a machine running wild. She tried to speak, but only a broken whisper escaped her lips. "Help, please." He hesitated again. Helping her meant danger. If others were looking for her, he could become their target. He had promised himself never to join another war, never to carry another burden. But looking into her glowing eyes, he felt something heavy inside, pity. He carried her carefully back to his ship. As the airlock sealed, she coughed and struggled, her fragile chest rising and falling with effort. He quickly connected a portable oxygen unit to her, and she slowly calmed down. "Safe," she whispered, her voice trembling. Then she closed her eyes, unconscious. The man sat back, breathing heavily. He stared at her, uncertain of what he had just done. He told himself it was only temporary. He would help her recover and then leave her on the nearest safe world. That was all, but deep in his mind, doubt began to grow. Who was she? Why was she on a ruined station in the middle of nowhere? And why did the signal feel like it was meant only for him? Later, as his ship drifted away from the dead station, his sensors flickered. Strange energy pulses surrounded the area, faint but clear, almost as if someone or something was watching. The man glanced back at the alien girl resting on his medical bed. Her face looked peaceful, almost innocent, but he could not shake the feeling that danger had just entered his life. In the silence of his ship, he whispered to himself, "She doesn't look dangerous." But why does it feel like she is not what she seems? And as if to answer his thought, the faint hum of his ship changed. Systems flickered for a moment, like invisible hands were touching them. He quickly checked the controls, but found nothing wrong. Still, the unease in his chest grew stronger. He had saved her life. But deep inside, he already knew. This was not the end. It was the beginning. The alien girl woke slowly, her silver eyes opening to the soft hum of the ship. For a moment, she looked lost, her gaze wandering as if she did not know where she was. Then she saw the man sitting near the controls, watching her carefully. Her lips parted, trembling. "You saved me." The man said nothing at first. He only gave a short nod. "You were dying. I couldn't just leave you there." She tried to sit up but winced, holding her chest. Her body still looked fragile, as if even breathing was painful. Yet, there was a spark in her eyes, a quiet strength hidden beneath weakness. "Why?" she whispered. "Why help me?" No one else would. The man looked away. He remembered his past, battles fought for causes that left only scars. He had promised himself never to carry the weight of another life. Yet here she was, small and helpless, depending on him. He gave a tired sigh. Because I'm human, he said at last. And humans, we don't walk away when someone begs for help. A soft smile touched her lips, though it quickly faded into worry. Her voice shook as she spoke again. They will come for me. They always come. You must not keep me with you. If they find me here, they will kill you too. The man frowned. Who's hunting you? Her eyes filled with fear, but also shame. The ones who made me. Those words struck him like a blade. He leaned closer. Made you? She nodded weakly. I was not born as you were. I was created. In secret, a project. An experiment. To be used. Her hands clenched tightly, her glass-like skin glowing faintly in the dim light. But I ran away. I want to live, not as a weapon, but as myself. The man's chest tightened. He had seen soldiers broken by war, turned into tools, stripped of freedom. Her words felt too real to be a lie. Yet a dangerous thought echoed in his mind. If she was a weapon, then what had he brought onto his ship? He stood pacing the small cabin. So you're saying the whole galaxy is after you? That you're dangerous? Her voice broke. I don't want to be dangerous. I just want to be free, please. Believe me. She reached out a trembling hand toward him. For a long moment he hesitated. His instinct screamed at him to push her away, to leave her before it was too late. But something in her eyes, those deep silver eyes that carried both fear and hope, kept him frozen. Finally he stepped closer and took her hand gently. All right, I believe you. But you need to understand, if I help you, I'm putting my life at risk, and maybe more than just mine. Her fingers tightened around his, desperate. I know, but if you leave me, I will die. And they will win, please, don't let them take me back. The cabin grew silent, only the steady hum of the ship filling the space. The man stared at her, his mind torn between fear and duty. He had run from responsibility for years, trying to live a life without ties, without battles. But deep inside, the part of him that was still human, still strong, could not refuse. At last, he spoke the words that would change everything. I'll protect you. As long as you're with me, I promise, you won't go back to them. Her eyes widened, shining with tears. You mean it? He gave a firm nod. I mean it. For the first time, she smiled. Not a weak, broken smile, but a real one. It was the kind of smile that lit even the coldest corners of space. But as she smiled, the ship suddenly shook. Alarms flashed red and the radar lit up with signals. The man rushed to the controls, his heart racing. 3 ships had appeared from hyperspace, sleek and dark, their weapons locked onto his vessel. The girl's face went pale. She whispered, almost in fear, "They found me." The man gritted his teeth. He had just made a promise, and already it was being tested. He tightened his grip on the controls. You said they always come, he muttered. Then let them. We'll make them regret chasing us. The girl watched him, fear and hope battling in her silver eyes. He was just one man in an old ship. They were a fleet of hunters. But in that moment she believed him. Humans had something no weapon could copy: willpower. As the enemy ships closed in, the man whispered under his breath, I promised, and I never break a promise. The engines roared and the chase began. The man's ship shook violently as the hunters closed in. Warning lights flashed across the cabin, and the engine groaned under pressure. 3 sleek enemy ships circled him like wolves around prey. They were faster, stronger, and armed with weapons far beyond his reach. The alien girl clutched the seat beside her, her silver eyes wide with fear. You cannot fight them. They will destroy us. The man's hands tightened on the controls. His ship was old, but it was his. He knew every screw, every patch, every hidden trick he had built into it. He gave her a sharp glance. Maybe I can't fight them, he said, but I can run, and running is something this ship still knows how to do. With a sudden burst of power, he twisted the ship and dove toward the shattered moon below. The hunters followed, their weapons firing bursts of blue energy. Explosions lit the darkness, each shot shaking his vessel. The girl gasped. They will catch us, always they catch me. Her words struck him like a challenge. His jaw tightened. Not today. He pulled a lever and hidden thrusters roared to life, blasting his ship into a narrow canyon along the moon's surface. The hunters hesitated for a moment, then followed, their sleek bodies weaving through the jagged rocks. Inside the cockpit, alarms screamed. The hull shook as debris scraped against it, but the man remained calm. His eyes were steady, his hands sure. Every twist of the canyon was another chance to survive. The girl stared at him in shock, How are you doing this? He allowed himself a small grin. Humans grew up running from bigger predators. We got good at it. For a moment, hope flickered in her eyes, but the chase was far from over. One of the hunters fired again. A blast tore through the rocks, sending shards spinning. His ship tilted, alarms blaring. He fought to steady it, sweat dripping down his forehead. The girl's voice trembled. They won't stop. They never stop. He risked a glance at her. She looked small, fragile, terrified, but beneath the fear was something else. Something hidden. Then maybe you should help me, he said. Her eyes widened. I cannot. If I use what I am, they will know. He didn't understand, but he didn't have time to argue. The hunters were closing in. His ship would not survive another direct hit. Then we die, he said flatly. Unless you decide to trust me. The words cut through the panic like a blade. She trembled, staring at him, then slowly placed her glowing hands on the ship's console. At once, the lights flickered. The old systems hummed with new energy, as if awakened by something unseen. The engines roared louder, faster, sharper. The radar lit up with strange signals like a second mind was guiding the ship. The man blinked. What did you just do? Her voice was faint but steady. I gave your ship a piece of me. The vessel leapt forward with sudden speed, racing through the canyon. The hunters tried to follow, but their movements lagged, unable to match the sudden precision of the human ship. The girl's silver eyes glowed brighter as her energy flowed into the controls. I cannot hold this long. But I can give you a chance, he nodded sharply. That's all I need. He pulled hard on the controls, guiding the ship upward through a crack in the canyon wall. They burst into open space, stars filling the void. Behind them, the hunters scrambled, but they were seconds too late. Engage jump, she urged, her voice strained. He slammed the hyperspace lever forward. The stars stretched into lines of light, and with a deafening roar, the ship vanished into the endless dark. For a long time, there was only silence. The man sat back, his chest rising and falling. His ship's alarms finally quieted, and the trembling in the hull stopped. He turned to the girl, who looked pale and drained, her glow fading. You saved us, he said quietly. She shook her head weakly. No, you saved me again, he frowned. But that power, what was it? You said you were made. Is that part of what they built into you? Her eyes closed halfway. Yes, they built me to control, to guide, to destroy. I am not supposed to be free. I am supposed to be theirs. He studied her carefully. She was so small, so delicate. And yet she carried the power to make his ship outrun death itself. She was not just an alien child. She was something far more dangerous, and yet when she looked at him, all he saw was a girl desperate to live. Listen, he said at last. Whatever you are, whoever made you, I don't care. You're here now. And I promised I'd protect you. That hasn't changed. Her silver eyes shimmered with tears. But they will never stop. You cannot fight the whole galaxy for me. He gave a tired smile. Maybe not. But humans are stubborn. And sometimes stubborn is enough. The ship drifted quietly through hyperspace. For the first time since he found her, the girl's breathing slowed into calm sleep. The man leaned back in his chair, but he did not rest. His mind was heavy with questions. Who had created her? What did they truly want? And most of all, had he saved an innocent life or unleashed something the galaxy feared for a reason? As hyperspace stretched around them, the man whispered to himself, This isn't just escape. This is the beginning of a war I don't understand. And somewhere in the endless dark far behind them, the hunters sent out a signal, a warning to the galaxy. The human has the weapon. The ship tore through hyperspace, leaving behind the shattered moon and the hunters. For a short while there was peace. The hum of the engines filled the cabin, and the girl lay asleep, her breathing shallow but steady. The man sat at the controls, his eyes fixed on the endless streams of light. His thoughts, however, were far from calm. He had kept his promise, he had protected her. But for how long? If those hunters had already tracked her once, they could do it again. As if answering his fears, the radar began to beep. Faint at first, then louder. He leaned forward, frowning. No, he muttered. Not this soon. The screen lit up with signals. More ships. Not 3 this time, 5, closing fast. The girl stirred, opening her silver eyes. She saw the red warnings flash and sat up quickly. They followed us? The man gritted his teeth. Either they can track your energy, or they never stopped hunting. Either way, they're here. Her face went pale. You should leave me. If I stay with you, they will kill you too. He turned sharply to her. I already gave you my word. I don't break promises. Her lips trembled, but she said nothing. The radar beeped again. The hunters burst into hyperspace lanes, their ships sleek and sharp, cutting through the stars like blades. Weapons locked onto his vessel, and the chase began once more. The man pulled hard on the controls, sending his ship into a sharp roll. Laser fire streaked past them, flashing against the void. The hull rattled as a blast grazed the side, leaving scorch marks. "Hold on," he shouted. The girl clung to the seat, her eyes wide with terror. But this time she did not place her hands on the console. She stayed still, almost frozen. The man noticed. "You're not helping." "Why?" Her voice was faint. "If I use my power again, they will know exactly where we are. They will send more, many more, until no world is safe for you." He cursed under his breath. She was right. Her strange energy was like a beacon, but without her his old ship was no match for a fleet. The hunters pressed closer, their weapons firing in perfect unison. He swerved between blasts, pushing his ship beyond its limits. Sweat dripped down his brow, but his hand stayed steady. He had run from danger his whole life, but never like this. "They're hurting us," he realized aloud. "Not trying to kill us. They want me to surrender." The girl's voice cracked. "They want me alive. Not you." His chest tightened. So that was it. She was not just a runaway. She was valuable enough to send fleets after her. He made a sharp dive, cutting toward a nearby asteroid field. The hunters followed, weaving between the giant spinning rocks. The chase turned into a deadly game, each movement one mistake away from death. The girl clutched her chest, tears glimmering in her eyes. "I should not have asked you for help. You should have left me on the station. Now you will die because of me." He glanced at her, his jaw firm. "You don't get it, do you? I chose this. You're not my burden. You're my responsibility, and I don't run from responsibilities anymore." Her breath caught as if those words pierced something deep inside her. For the first time, she looked at him not with fear, but with something like trust. Still, the hunters pressed closer. One blast struck the rear thrusters and the ship lurched violently. Systems flickered. Warnings screamed, the man cursed. "They're crippling us. One more hit and we're finished." The girl's hands shook as she reached for the console. "Then let me help. If I must use my power, I will. Even if it means more will come," he hesitated. "If you do this, you're risking both of us." Her silver eyes met his. "If I don't, we both die anyway." For a heartbeat, neither moved. Then he gave a sharp nod. "Do it." Her hands pressed against the console. Light spread across her skin, flowing into the ship like liquid fire. The engines roared to life, stronger than before. The old vessel surged forward, weaving through the asteroid field with impossible precision. The hunters fired, but their blasts missed by inches. The man felt the ship move almost on its own, guided by her strange energy. Together, human and alien became one with the machine. With a final burst of speed, the ship shot through the asteroid field and into open space. The hunters, unable to match the maneuver, fell back. Their fleet regrouped at a distance, watching. The man exhaled heavily, his chest burning from tension. He turned to the girl. Her glow dimmed, her body trembling. "You saved us," he said quietly. Her lips curved into a faint, tired smile. "No, we saved each other." But the radar still blinked with enemy signals. The hunters had not left. They were waiting, circling like shadows as if giving a warning. And then a final message came across the comms. A cold metallic voice spoke. "Human, return the weapon, or your world will burn." The man froze. His world, Earth? He looked at the girl. She lowered her head in shame. In that moment he realized the truth. This was no simple rescue. By helping her, he had placed all of humanity in danger. But still, when he looked at her trembling hands, her fragile body and her desperate eyes, he knew one thing for certain. He would not give her up. The cabin was silent except for the low hum of the damaged engines. The man leaned against the control panel, his thoughts heavy. The hunters had retreated, but their final words echoed in his mind. "Return the weapon, or your world will burn." "Weapon?" He looked at the girl. She was curled up in the corner of the ship, her silver eyes half closed, her skin faintly glowing in the dim light. She looked small, fragile, almost childlike, but the word would not leave his head. "Weapon?" His jaw tightened. "What aren't you telling me?" The girl blinked, startled by the sharpness in his voice. "What do you mean?" "You heard them. They called you a weapon. They didn't say girl or child, they said weapon. What are you really? Her lips trembled. I don't know why they said that. He narrowed his eyes. Don't lie to me. The ship's lights flickered as he slammed a hand against the console. He had risked his life again and again for her. But now his trust began to crumble. She looked at him, tears forming, and for a moment she said nothing. Finally she whispered, I told you, I was made. I don't know everything about what I am, but I am not a weapon. Please believe me, the man stared at her. He wanted to believe. He wanted to see only the frightened girl he had carried from the ruined station. But doubt gnawed at him like fire. He turned back to the controls, scanning through the damage reports. As he worked, he noticed something strange, a locked file in the ship's system. A file that hadn't been there before. His brow furrowed, he tapped the screen, encrypted unknown origin. His gut twisted. Slowly, he entered a bypass code, one of many tricks he had learned in the wars. The file opened and his blood ran cold. Inside were streams of alien data, glowing symbols that pulsed like living code. At the center, an image formed, a blueprint. Not of a station, not of a ship, of her, the alien girl. Her body mapped out like a machine. Circuits where veins should be. Energy cores where organs should rest. She wasn't just alive. She was designed. The man's hands shook. He turned sharply to her. You put this in my system, why? Her eyes widened and she shook her head quickly. No, I didn't. I never touched, but then she stopped. Her glowing hands trembled as she looked down at them. Maybe when I connected with your ship, part of me. Part of what I am. It slipped in, her voice cracked with fear. I didn't mean to. I swear, the man clenched his fists. Then it's true. You are a weapon. Tears slid down her cheeks. I don't want to be. I never asked to be made like this. She reached out toward him, desperate. Please, I'm not your enemy. You've seen me. You know me, but his mind spun. He remembered her guiding the ship with impossible precision, the way hunters risked fleets to capture her, the cold threat of Earth's destruction. He whispered to himself, almost in anger. What have I brought on board? The girl crawled closer, her voice trembling. I am more than their weapon. I want to be free. I want to live as me. Isn't that enough? He stared at her, caught between fear and pity. For a moment he saw not a weapon but a scared child begging for mercy. His chest tightened, but then the console beeped. Another signal. Another fleet entering the sector. His head snapped to the radar. More ships. Dozens this time. The girl's silver eyes filled with despair. They will never stop. Because I am theirs. To them I am not alive, I am property. If you keep me, they will burn every world you love until they get me back. Her words struck him harder than any weapon. He thought of Earth, of the fragile safety humanity had carved out among the stars. Would he doom his own people just to protect one alien child? His hands gripped the console. He could almost hear the voices of his past commanders, cold and practical. One life is not worth an entire world. But then, he looked at her again. Weak, trembling, crying, but still fighting to live. The silence in the cabin grew heavy. He wanted to demand the truth. He wanted to shout. But all he said was, I don't know if you're a child. Or a weapon. Maybe you're both, but as long as you're with me, you'll have my protection. That was my promise. Her tears spilled freely and she whispered, even if it costs everything. He looked out at the stars where the enemy fleet gathered like a storm. His jaw tightened, especially if it costs everything. But deep inside, doubt still burned. For the first time, he asked himself a question he did not want to answer. Had he saved an innocent life, or had he unleashed something the galaxy was right to fear? The man stood at the ship's console staring at the swarm of signals on the radar. The enemy fleet grew larger by the second. He had seen battles before, but this was no battle. This was a net, and he was the prey. Behind him, the alien girl sat quietly, her silver eyes reflecting the red glow of the alarms. She looked small, but her presence filled the cabin like a storm waiting to break. He turned to her sharply. No more lies. I need the truth. What are you? Her lips parted, but no words came. She lowered her head as if carrying a weight too heavy to lift. They called you a weapon, he pressed, his voice hard. And I saw the files. Your body is not natural. You were built. Why? At first she only trembled. Then slowly she raised her eyes to his. There was pain in them, but also something deeper. fear of herself. I was not made to live, she whispered. I was made to end. The man's chest tightened. And what? Her voice shook as she spoke. Worlds, civilizations, anything they pointed me at. The cabin grew colder. She continued, her words spilling like broken glass. I was designed by the Dominion, the empire you call cruel. They wanted the perfect weapon, a being that looked harmless, that could slip past defenses, that could get close before anyone knew the truth. My body carries power you cannot imagine. Energy that can destroy fleets, or planets. The man's breath caught. He had suspected, but hearing it aloud was different. The girl was not just dangerous. She was apocalypse, but she wasn't finished. Her silver eyes glimmered with tears. I was tested on barren worlds. Worlds with no people. They watched me unleash storms, fire, destruction. Each time I begged them to stop. But they only said, "You are not meant to beg. You are meant to obey." Her hands clenched tightly, glowing faintly as she shook. So I ran. I broke free. I wanted to be more than their weapon. I wanted to be alive, to be seen as a girl, not a bomb. The man's throat felt dry. He stared at her, torn between fear and pity. She looked fragile, trembling, with tears streaking her glowing cheeks. And yet the power inside her could erase entire worlds, he whispered. Why me? Why send your signal to my ship? Out of all the travelers in the galaxy, why call me? Her gaze softened. Because you are human. And humans are different. The Dominion fears you. They say humans cannot be broken. I thought, maybe a human would see me as more than what I was made for. His heart twisted. He remembered the battles of his past, the way humans had survived against impossible odds. Stubborn, relentless, unbroken. Maybe she was right. Maybe that was why she had chosen him, but doubt still gnawed at him. He paced the cabin, his mind heavy. Do you even know if you can control it? That power inside you, what if it wakes up without warning? What if helping you puts every world I know in danger? Her tears fell silently. I don't know. Sometimes I feel it moving inside me, like fire in my veins. I fight it. I hold it down. But if I lose control, her voice cracked, then I will become what they made me, and I would rather die than become that. The man stopped. He looked at her, truly looked at her. Not just as a girl, not just as a weapon, but as both. A fragile child with the heart of a person and the body of a storm. She met his gaze, her voice trembling but steady. So now you know the truth. If you want to turn me in, do it. If you want to kill me, do it. But if you let me live, I swear, I will fight myself every day not to be their monster. I only want to be free. The man's hands clenched at his sides. His thoughts screamed at him to walk away, to protect humanity, to survive. But another voice deep inside whispered something else. Humans don't abandon those who beg for help. Slowly, he stepped toward her. He placed a hand on her shoulder, firm and steady. You are not just what they made you. You are what you choose to be. And as long as you're with me, I'll fight anyone who tries to take that choice away. Her silver eyes widened, tears glimmering like stars. Even if I lose control? He gave a grim smile. Then I'll be the one to stop you. Not them, me. For the first time, she smiled through her tears. Not weak, not broken, but with a fragile hope. But before the moment could last, the ship shook violently. The enemy fleet had closed in, surrounding them on all sides. The comms crackled with the Dominion's voice, cold and merciless. Human, hand over the prototype. Or watch your Earth burn. The man's eyes narrowed. His choice had already been made. He turned back to the girl. Ready or not, we fight together. Her glow brightened, no longer weak but fierce. And for the first time she whispered, not in fear but in resolve. Then let them come. The enemy fleet spread across the stars like a wall of steel. Dozens of Dominion warships locked their weapons on the man's small vessel. The comms crackled again, the voice sharp and merciless. Return the weapon, human, or your Earth will burn. The man's hands gripped the controls. His heart pounded. Behind him, the alien girl stood, glowing faintly in the dim cabin. She looked at the screen, at the endless fleet, her silver eyes filled with fear. They will kill you, she whispered. They will kill everyone you love just to have me back. The man did not look at her. His gaze stayed on the stars, hard and steady. I made you a promise. I won't give you up. Her voice trembled. Then they will destroy your world. Don't you see? I am not worth it. One girl against an entire planet. You should surrender me. He finally turned to her. You're not just one girl. You're proof that even something built for destruction can choose to live. If I hand you over, I betray everything it means to be human." Tears welled in her eyes. She had expected fear, anger, maybe even hatred. But not this. Not a man who would stand against a fleet for her. Still, the truth burned inside her. If I use my power, if I unleash what they made me, I might lose myself. I might destroy everything, including you. The man gave a grim smile. Then I'll stand by you until the end. And if you lose control, I'll be the one to stop you. Not them. Her chest rose and fell with shaky breaths. For a moment, silence filled the cabin. Then, slowly, she nodded. Outside, the Dominion fleet moved closer. Weapons charged, glowing like suns. The man whispered under his breath, "All right, kid. Let's show them what happens when they threaten Earth." The girl stepped forward, her small hands pressing against the console. Her body glowed brighter and brighter until the entire cabin filled with silver light. Her hair lifted as if touched by wind, though there was none. Her voice, soft yet powerful, echoed through the ship. They wanted a weapon. Tonight, they will see what they created. The ship shuddered. Systems that had been broken sparked alive, running at full strength. The engines roared like thunder. The man's vessel, once an old patched machine, now moved as if it were alive. The Dominion fired first. Streams of plasma ripped through the dark, aimed to shatter the human ship. But the girl raised her hand and the blasts bent away, curving harmlessly into space. Her silver glow spread beyond the cabin, wrapping the ship in a shield of living energy. The man's eyes widened. "You're holding it back," her voice shook. "For now." He gritted his teeth, gripping the controls. "Then let's make every second count." He dove the ship straight into the fleet. Enemy fire rained down, but the shield pulsed, deflecting strike after strike. The man weaved through the warships, his hands steady, his heart racing. For every enemy ship that turned to follow, the girl's power struck out like lightning, frying systems, tearing through metal. But with every attack, her glow dimmed. Her breaths came quicker, harsher. "They're too many," she gasped. "I can't hold them all." The man's mind raced. He had fought impossible battles before. He knew when victory was not about winning. It was about making a choice. He turned to her. "You don't have to destroy them all. Just break their chain." She blinked. "Their chain?" He pointed at the massive command ship at the center of the fleet, larger than the rest, pulsing with power. "Cut off the head. The body falls." Her silver eyes burned bright. "But to do that, I must unleash all of me." He swallowed hard. "Then do it. I trust you." Her glow flared until it was blinding. Her body shook as the energy inside her surged, fire roaring through her veins. For a moment she looked less like a girl and more like a star about to explode. The man whispered softly, though she might not hear him. "You're not a weapon. You're a choice," she screamed, and her power erupted outward. A wave of silver fire tore through space, ripping into the Dominion fleet. Warships shattered, breaking apart in violent bursts of light. The shielded command ship tried to resist, but her power pierced through, consuming it in a brilliant blaze. Silence followed. The fleet was gone. Only wreckage floated among the stars. The girl collapsed, her glow fading, her body limp. The man caught her in his arms, fear stabbing his chest. "Stay with me," he whispered desperately. "Don't let go." Her eyes fluttered open, weak but alive. "Did we do it?" He smiled, exhausted but proud. "We did it. You did it." She gave a faint smile. "I didn't lose myself, because you believed I could be more." Her eyes closed, drifting into sleep, her body finally at peace. The man looked out at the wreckage of the fleet, then toward the distant stars where Earth waited. He knew the Dominion would not forgive this. They would come again, stronger, with vengeance. But as he held the fragile girl in his arms, he felt no regret. "Let them come," he whispered to the empty stars. "Because humanity protects its own, even the ones who weren't born among us." The old ship drifted forward, carrying them into the unknown. One man, one girl, and a promise stronger than any weapon. And across the galaxy, whispers began to spread. Of a human who defied an empire. Of a weapon who chose to be free, a story of hope. And of fear, because no one knew the answer to the question that echoed in every mind. Had he saved a child? Or unleashed the most dangerous force the stars had ever seen?